Dobar dan svima, dobrodošli na još jedan Data Minds Podcasta sa Data Science konferencije u Beogradu. I will switch to English because my guest here with me is Ramzi Temanni from Johnson & Johnson. He had the interesting panel discussion about trends in AI, so welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. First of all, is it your first time in Belgrade, Serbia? Or?
It is. It's my first time. So I just landed yesterday night, so I haven't time to visit around. So I just walked along the way from the hotel to the venue,
Nice.
which looks new, I believe. Is it a new one?
It is actually renovated,
okay.
so it is open 10 days ago.
Oh,
I think this is half
wonderful.
open state, actually. So Alexander told me that he wasn't sure whether venue will be ready for
ready in time.
conference.
Yeah, it's really a nice renovation.
How do you like venue so far? If you arrived, today is your first day and this is early morning.
I attended two talk this morning. They were really interesting about how we work with the ecosystem in healthcare. And then the other talk was about how to collaborate with hospital and startup and make sure that there's, because again, hospital are the data provider, startup needs data, but how you make sure things get along in both directions. So it was fairly interesting.
Great. I wish you great time here.
Thank you so much.
When is your panel? After this?
My panel is this afternoon, so it's going to be around the trends in AI in healthcare and biotech and pharma industry.
Regarding Johnson & Johnson, how do you position yourself? We all know Johnson & Johnson from chemicals, right? Cosmetics. But
actually, Johnson & Johnson used to have three main arms. So one is the pharmaceutical industry. The other one is the medical devices. And the third one was the consumer health.
Very nice.
But recently, consumer health now is a different company. It's called Kenvue. And now we focus basically on pharma and medical devices.
Nice.
So I'm part of the pharma industry group. I'm based in Paris, and I'm part of what we call Janssen R&D, Data Science and Digital Health. So the digital health group is a large group. There's around 200 people. We have the group I belong to is called Analytical Insights. Basically, we have different pillars trying to cover the different use of AI in the different areas. So I'm leading a group called AI for Systems Biology, where we're trying to leverage multi-omics data and apply AI to have a better understanding of disease mechanisms and identifying new targets. So I have my other colleagues. So the other group is population genetics. So basically they look at large population scale genomics data to find out if they could use that large data set to identify target and have better assessment of potential drug discovered in the different area. A third group is on the digital health, and the idea is to find digital endpoint and biomarker that could potentially help better assess patient. And the fourth group is on NLP and knowledge graph, seeing how we could look at what is available in the literature to inform our programs. We have also another groups looking into imaging, and a final group looking at molecules in general.
Nice. One of the most interesting projects in market that we did, we work with IVF, in vitro fertilization, and we analyze time-lapse video in order to figure out which embryo is best candidate to do
fertilization.
Which will most likely give live birth, because this is
interesting.
So my mother is a neurologist and I'm tech person, so my life mission is to connect healthcare and technology, and there is a lot of development happening right now, I think, in healthcare. What are you really most passionate about?
Well, so I think, maybe I'll give you a brief overview by my career path to understand.
We started with Johnson & Johnson.
I grew up in Tunisia. I started my journey in computer science in 1986, playing Visual Basic. So this is probably some might not know about that language anymore. But that we had like a kind of computer science club in my native city, and we used to build programs, and we participated to a competition, and we were ranked second. And since that moment, I knew like I'll be going on the computer science track. However, I did my undergrad in Tunisia, then moved to France. Went to Grenoble in the central France, and there I was planning to do game design. Mm-hmm. So I was into the artificial intelligence. We did like our student project. It went very well. We programmed a game from A to Z in a group of 6. However, in my bachelor degree, they come and presented bioinformatics, which was fairly new to me. I never heard about it. But they were trying to introduce a new major at the university, and they talked about that. So that really completely changed my direction. I saw the impact it's going to have on people's life, and it was so passionate, like playing with molecules, playing with the genes, trying to apply data to help patients. And then I went and did a master's degree in medical informatics in Paris. And then in that master's degree, we saw all the application of computer science in healthcare. Yep. So simulation, telemedicine, image analysis.
That was which year, just to...
Well, this was 2004.
2004, yeah. Right.
So then again, like this, having looked at the different area of application of computer science in the medical field, I still interested in bioinformatics. Yep. And then I got a scholarship from the French ministry and then did my PhD in bioinformatics. Mm-hmm. So I was really fortunate because during my PhD, I was part of a European project called Diogene, where basically they're trying to understand what is influencing obesity. Because we know like it's a multifactorial disease, there's genes, there's environment, there's habit. And we're trying to see if we could leverage AI to help understand the genetic factors, and if we're trying to identify biomarker. So that also helped me, to have an openness working, because again, like we have a meeting every 6 months in different country. You work with different university across Europe. So it gives you really an openness. And then I decided to move out of France and have a European experience. So that move was to Netherlands. Mm-hmm. And actually I had 2 opportunities at the same time. So one opportunity in pharma at that time, and one in a startup. Mm-hmm. So the pharma was exactly a continuation to my PhD. Yeah. And the role with the startup was completely different, and it's basically jumping out from my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. However, it was in a very hot topic, which is like next generation sequencing analysis. Mm-hmm. So I ended up taking the Netherlands option. It was also a part of a startup that used to be called Serve Success at that time. Now it's called Genome Scan. And one of the advantages was a spin-off of the Leiden University Medical Center. And the Leiden University Medical Center has access at that time to all type of sequencer available. Mm-hmm. And it was really a very good opportunity for me to really learn about the technology. I have a wonderful colleague who have, like, some of them have computer science background, but most of them are biologists and expert on the disease. So it helped me a lot to learn about the technology, because again, maybe a rewind back to my time at the starting the PhD is like when I started, I was in a computer science lab, working only with computer scientists. So what we're trying to do is run model, trying to improve the accuracy, and then we moved to inside the hospital. So basically, our department of bioinformatics is like inside the hospital. You see the patient coming, you work with the clinician, you work with doctors, and I would say that was an eye-opening for me to really start to understand what does bioinformatics means. It's not just playing with biological data. It's really working with the expert, trying to identify what is the major challenge and work with them to identify the best technological tool to address that question. Yeah. So
we're struggling in this market with similar thing because we are a service-oriented company. So all of our employees are engineers. Basically, other companies such as yours are coming to you to work with us to create software solutions. But I'm trying to convince my engineers to fly to customer sites, see patients, or I don't know, smart cars or something like that in action, because only doing computer science and only doing programming without context is scary, at least for me. I always had this natural curiosity where I wanted to understand the business for which I'm making a software. So
this is a very valid point, because again, we don't want to have fun, cool tools. We want to build tools that are fun, cool, but most of all, solve problem and impact. And for us in healthcare, it should impact our patient, because we have a lot of unmet disease, and we want to help this patient. And you're right. So the engineer need to have a mindset change. They need to spend time trying to understand the problem. Spend time with the biologist, ask the right question. And find out also, let's say you build a model today. How would you find out that your model is working as it should be? How you validate your model? And the validation criteria might not only be those we are using in IT in terms of accuracy and stability. So we need also to see how we could place that piece on the full landscape. We need to move away from precision recall and start speaking. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. But I think we made this problem as well, because especially now in AI and playing with data, it's really important. Previously, we were building mobile and web applications. Usually you have some kind of mock-up or some specification, and your job is to type the code which will then work according to technical specification. Now we are building models which need to help with some kind of decision making, and this is naturally business problem or domain problem, not only technical problems. And I think the technical tools are really improving. So I think we will get to a point where technical side of things becomes less important.
I would say it's still important, but it's not the most important piece. Because technology will evolve. And if you put all your bet on the technology, you will lose. Beaten by someone else who bring in your technology.
Exactly.
However, it's the know-how and the capability to put all the pieces together and understand the problem and bring the right solution.
For me, this is engineering. This is definition of engineering, not typing code, but really understanding the problem and engineering the solution to solve the problem.
And back to my time in the Netherlands, my first assignment was, I was working on another European project trying to identify fusion genes in prostate cancer. So we use next generation sequencing, we apply bioinformatics too, and we identify those. So what happened, imagine, first assignment in the company, it was before Christmas. They generated the data, give it to me, run my pipeline, identified the fusion genes, we sent it to the customer, went on holiday break, came back, we had a very bad email saying that none of the target that we sent to them was validated. So for me, it was one of my best experience because I learned a lot. So obviously, I'm the new kids on the block. My boss come to me, say, Ramzi, we send the data, none is validated. We think your algorithm is not working. Can you please have a look? This is a serious matter. It's a big customer. It was the Erasmus MC at that time. And I went back to my code, spent some time looking into it, and then come to him, say, Bart, I checked my code, and I don't think the problem is coming from my code. So I liked the spirit he had. He said, okay, Ramzi, let's have a meeting with all the stakeholders to look where the problem is coming from the sample itself till it gets to your code. So if you're sure about your code, let's look what's happening before. So we had a meeting, lab technician, biologist, so all the people who contributed to the chain, and I liked the open discussion. It was not so, let's find who to blame, let's find how to solve the problem. So, and what happened is, again, I'm new in the area of next generation sequencing. I'm more on bioinformatics side, so I was trying to look at the methodology, but not how the data is generating, what's happening in the lab. So the first thing they did is they took me to the lab and they went me through each of the experiment. So just to me to trying to understand how that is impacting my pipeline. And basically, they tried to experiment a new technology in the lab, whereas they call the made-pair library that Illumina developed it. So rather than having small fragments, so they're trying to take long fragment, and they have attached like magnetic bead to the extremity of the fragment, and those magnetic beads close up to make a circle, and they cut from both extremity, and this is the part that is sequencing.
Yep.
So what happened is when they did that, they tried to increase the density so to have more data because the sequencing was costly in 2029. So instead of having that circular ligation and the two pieces closing, so one fragment was closing with the other, which means they now start to look as fusion gene because that's what we're looking for. So hopefully when they did that, they did it also with the normal human data because in normal human, we don't expect to see fusion. So run my pipeline and we see the same pattern so to say, if maybe my pipeline worked and the data was perfect, I haven't had learned much. As I heard from this experience going to the lab, working with the team and seeing all that.
I think this is second big statement. First big statement is that we are engineers and need to solve problems, but second is that we'll learn probably from the ugliest experiences out there. And my absolutely worst experience was in previous company working with a Dutch-based company that had ERP completely written in stored procedures in Dutch language. So yeah, I wanted to do something impactful, but I was having so hard time figuring out pieces, code, etc., etc. But then I learned how these decisions impact final product and maintainability of the product. All codes written in statics cannot be tested, etc., etc. So I learned that I need to double think each decision along the way, how it will work right now, but also in future.
Absolutely.
Completely agree with you regarding bad experiences. So absolutely. Go out and make problems.
And that's what I say to my team. Don't be afraid. You have my support. Be adventurous, but make sure if it doesn't work, learn from it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. This is really big statement, and
So I spent 2 years in the Netherlands. I worked on over 25, 30 projects. And it was like also an amazing experience because, like you're in a startup mode. Although I have like this main project for the European project, I was working on other projects where basically sometimes it's seeds. We're trying to see like their efficiency. Sometimes it's plants, sometimes it's human. And each time, again, I'm not a biologist. I work with biologists. So I go to my boss and say, okay, why we do this? What is the biology behind it? What I should be careful about? So I get everything and then we do the project. So after 2 years there, I was using a lot of tools that I'm applying in my day-to-day work. A lot of them was developed in the US at the University of Maryland. So my next challenge is like it was like a 2-year contract. So I applied in several places. So I get like an offer from my company, an offer in Australia, an offer in Kuwait, an offer in Italy, an offer in USA. So what really pushed me out to select the US experience is like basically most of the tool I was using are developed at that university. Although I was not in the same department, but I was in close connection with those people. So then also it was completely different experience. I was working on host pathogen interaction. So basically they infect cell with a pathogen. They sequence the cell at different time points and trying to see how the cell and the pathogen are fighting along the way. And that also was a...
So you went to US from
I went
Netherlands?
to US. I went, to University of Maryland in College Park, near DC. And after also 2 years in the US, I come across an offer in Doha, Qatar, at a new research hospital, brand new, being built, and they are hiring to build the research department at the hospital. And I was the first bioinformatician to be hired in that department. And it was really a fantastic experience because I would say before that experience, I was more on the science side of things. Where there I had really a strategic role to, work on building the strategy for the department. I was involved in the hiring, defining the job description, interviewing the people. We worked with IBM to build the, infrastructure. We built the state-of-the-art infrastructure, high-performance computing with 5,000 core, 5 petabyte of storage,
Nice.
6 terabyte of memory. So it was like really a very challenging. And again, like having some also experience on the next generation sequencing side, I was also part of the committee that were selecting the equipment for the lab.
And then next stop was Johnson & Johnson? Or?
So after Doha was Johnson. And in Qatar, so I had my role starting, as I mentioned, so as a scientist. Then they started the Qatar Genome Program, which is like a flagship program in Qatar. And the hospital I used to work in called Sidra Medicine, we were mandated to do the sequencing and the bioinformatics analysis.
Nice.
And I was in charge of the bioinformatics analysis, so we did like more than 22,000 genome during my time there. And then the hospital opened its door, so I also was supporting research and clinical bioinformatics. And there, if you ask me, what is like your best experience, it was with the family who had a kid with limited mobility. And they didn't know what was wrong because he was taking the medication, but the medication was not working. So we did the sequencing, we performed the analysis, and we realized that the medication is not giving the expected effect. And actually, there were like an expression in genes that are not matching the pattern of disease in the child.
It's really great feeling when you develop some kind of technology and you see not that technology is working in the lab environmental, but really in.
So it turns out that what we identified, like a pattern that is there's the French hospital called Necker, it's children's hospital. They had an open clinical trial for this type of disease.
Yep.
So the kids was sent to France. They followed the treatment, and now they have a better mobility. And you see the parent testimony and a video of the kids before and after, and that's really, it's life changing.
This give you really great energy.
We did a lot of things. We did the platform. We did like the infrastructure and everything, but really having an impact on people's life is really very rewarding. And basically, we get to a point where everything is stabilized there. And I was contacted by the recruiter at Johnson & Johnson to...
You need a new adventure.
Start, and again, like this is like a new build initiative. So when I joined in 2021 in January in Johnson & Johnson, and they wanted to build this, what they call AI in Genomics initiative in France. And the idea is really to build it from scratch, create an entity in France, an R&D entity that will look at advances and collaborate with, I'm part of, as I mentioned, Janssen R&D. We have the commercial entity in France, and we have also what we call Johnson & Johnson Innovation. So this
a lot of big companies are doing it like that, because big companies and corporates are slow with innovation, right? They are opening up R&D arm, which they finance, and then a couple of projects are developed there with the idea to be sucked into a bigger company, or even have like wider spread usage across the industry.
Yes. So actually, the R&D is internal to J&J.
Yeah.
The J&J Innovation has different mission. It's like they have like a VC fund, so in the investing company. They have a scouting role to see what is the external innovation, because for us...
We have similar setup with Telenor. They are the biggest MTES, their biggest telco provider, and they created like a fund where they innovate in telco space.
I see.
Probably it's like that.
I think because the most important innovation can happen everywhere.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
How we can make sure that we adopt that innovation and bring it to patient.
And really impressive career.
But
I get that you want to build stuff. Startup career in Netherlands, then you went to Qatar and stayed there until everything is stable. Now you are in Johnson & Johnson because you're building something new.
Absolutely.
So you're a builder.
So the reason I moved to Johnson & Johnson, because I was telling them, like, imagine you develop tools that help to create new drugs or improve new drugs that is impacting the life of millions of patients.
Yeah.
So you'll have a wonderful story to tell to your grandkids when you retire. So in this role, so basically we're trying to see like how we could impact the the drug discovery by using multi-omics data.
Yeah.
Because today we have like a revolution on genomics. So a lot of initiatives happening, UK Biobank, all of us. So genomics is democratized. We have access to that. However, it's just a part of the story. So transcriptomics, single cell, proteomic, metabolomic are also other data types that are not as common as genomic, but we are advancing a lot in this area. But they are also coming with a lot of complex in how to understand the data, how to generate the data, how to prepare the data, and how to find the right tools to find the insight.
Just to understand, I was on one lecture by healthcare laboratory here, and one guy told me divided this field right now. So just want to verify whether my understanding is correct. We have biological or chemical tools which are out there, and they're great. But problem with them is that they are widespread in your body. Then you have like DNA sequence, and this is next innovation of our cures, because then you can manipulate DNA sequence and not influence whole body but DNA sequence. And third, and the best would be detecting diseases on cell level and just hitting the cell with a cure, not having a cure that is problematic to other parts of your body.
Absolutely. Well,
did I understood that correctly?
I think in a nutshell, yes.
In a nutshell.
Yeah. So it's a very complex concept. And again, that's where sometimes drugs takes a lot of time to go from the initial idea to the market. Yeah. Because there's a lot of steps. You have the clinical trial, you have the test and so on.
We saw it in COVID with the vaccine. Yeah.
We are seeing a lot of evolution in what's happening in drug discovery. So one of the things that we have Carvykti, for instance, is a drug that J&J developed. Basically what they're trying to do, they take patient cells, they train them to recognize cancer and bring them back to the patient. And we see a very high rate of accuracy, and people are getting cured. And this is, to me, is really fantastic. And again, it's a combination of different skill with different people at different stages to be able to come up with such thing. And this is where it's important to have a right ecosystem and all the key stakeholders around the table to find out how to work together to address this complex and challenging problem.
Yeah. And I think you are at the right place right now. You have Johnson & Johnson, which is a big company, probably with a lot of resources, but you are part of innovation there. So I guess you're doing right. You choose wisely.
I'm really proud to be where I am, because again, I think the biggest strength is the people around you, is having competent people and having these synergies between the different teams to help the patient. And because again, our mission is how to impact patient and bring the best medication to them.
And probably the synergy between healthcare professionals and technical professionals, IT professionals, and all other people involved is the great way moving forward.
Yeah, today the complex problem we're seeing and all these complex diseases require collaboration and strong synergies with people who have the same ambition, how to help our patient. And this is what we see internally in our company, and I'm so proud of that.
Thanks, Ramzi, for coming by and doing this interview. I wanted to cover trends as well, but since you are part of the panel, I don't want to spoil to the audience, and I will come by and listen trends you want to mention on this panel.
Thank you for having me here.